Good afternoon, friends. It's been some time taking afternoon. Yes, I got to know how to use whiteboard today, so that was the learning. So, how was your pre? How many of you appeared for prelims this time? Okay. How did you feel? Lindy, okay. You felt UPSC how? What? In one word, whether it is uncertain or certain? Unpredictable. All right. Okay. Okay, guys. Today I'll be discussing the strategy for GS1, where you will be understanding, or I'll be trying to share my experience of last 5 years in UPSC, how you can learn from those mistakes which I have made. Okay. So I'm not here to give you some gyan, but I'm here to share my mistakes, because ultimately the journey of UPSC is learnt by others' mistakes. Only they will make it in earlier attempts. So that's why I am here. I'll be discussing the mindset of UPSC here. How the although the syllabus is already there, where does UPSC usually tends to stick? That is what we will be doing in PYQ analysis. After that, we will see how to write answers, create frameworks and generate points. After that, we will discuss, I will demonstrate about I will demonstrate with a live answer writing session. Post that, I will try to show you some notes which I do not consider as the best ones, which I made. I will try to show you, if it helps you, you can gain some insights, whether how to make those short notes and bring that value inside it. All right. So shall we begin, guys? Yeah. Did you guys had lunch or not? Yeah. Now it seems like you had lunch. Okay. Coming to the first major portion in GS1, it is history. In history, give me a moment, a statistics page illida? Illida, sorry. See, let's break up the weightage first. Okay. Although in GS1 we have three main subjects: history, society and geography, but bulk of the weight is given to geography and society, and more importantly 90 marks or over 90 marks is from geography alone, and about 75 to 80 marks are from society, and the rest 70 marks it is with history, which includes 4 parts. One is ancient history, art and culture, the other is modern history, the third one is world history, and fourth one post independence. So including all these, we are getting 70 to 75 marks. So that's how we should distribute our time and effort. It should be cost based analysis. It should not be like just because I have to cover the syllabus inch by inch, because if we start and sit to do in that fashion, history alone would require at least a month, but that is not practical in these next 2 months. So the strategy has to be smart by identifying those themes which are repetitive and trying to cover those things properly and trying to add a value in that. That's how we will be writing those competitive answers in that limited time in a relative competition. All right. So in this is what the trend has been. See, you can see the tall pillars are society and the other tall pillars are geography. Geography has been broken into 2 parts, human geography and physical geography, but if you are clubbing this blue and green, you could see 8 or 7 questions in general. So that's what is the weightage. When geography and society alone are consuming nearly 40 questions on an average, imagine the weightage. Okay. So that's how you should devote your time. So this is analysis part. You can just have a brief glimpse over it. what we spoke just now is mentioned here. So coming to themes, in art and architecture, there are few broad themes where UPSC will be asking the questions. One is the temple architecture or overall architecture. You might have seen the recent 25 years paper. There was a question on Chandela sculptures and architecture, and it has been a repeated theme. And the second major theme is the literary works. There was a question on Pala literature and a literature contribution from Persian in understanding Indian history. So these are the two main things where there will be at least one question almost every year. The third most thing is contribution from some of the dynasties, like there was question from contribution of Vijayanagara, the Cholas and the Guptas. And the fourth major thing is the art forms. Usually this area is not deeply assessed by UPSC. It is generally limited to prelims, but since we can't take the risk, we must be prepared, because there was some question on the Nataraja dance and all. So that was basically associated with art forms. Okay. And the fifth part is about Indian heritage. There will be questions about the ancient achievements that India has done, and that glory and the contribution from ancient society will be asked in that Indian heritage part. And it also includes emphasis on our Vedic culture and IVC, because in today's world, presently in the last decade, there has been a significant emphasis on seeing pride in our own culture. So when the general direction of the nation is about taking pride in our own indigenous development, our achievements in ancient history becomes a prominent issue and matter of subject for UPSC to ask. So that's how you need to filter out and simplify the given syllabus. If you are just trying to do it word by word in depth, then it will take a lot of time with a lesser productivity. All right. So that was about heritage, art and culture. So you could see the architectural developments, Harappan architecture, the art forms, the temple architecture. Sorry, I left one more part, Indian philosophy. And Indian philosophy is one area where UPSC will be asking the questions again and again. The Buddhism, Jainism, the Bhakti and Sufi movements, and the other major six and the orthodox and unorthodox traditions. Okay, you should be aware and fully prepared for this. Yes, there has been no question about Indian Upanishad or the six schools, but expect a question from that anytime, any day. You just know which year it would come. You must be prepared, because you must be prepared in depth or in width based on themes. You should not think like either in the only one question is coming from this area, so why should I waste time? No, that one question is actually indicator that this is how this area will be explored. Okay, you should take that as an indicator. All right. So these are some questions on philosophical traditions, where it's very explicit. The Indian philosophy and tradition played a significant role in conceiving and shaping the monuments. See, there is the interlinkage. The philosophy and art is interlinkaged, and the achievements of IVC and present day society can be interlinked. There can be a question that say the religious and socio political aspects of IVC are still alive today. Comment. This could be the question. Don't you think the elements are still alive today? The Pashupatinath seal that you see, it is often equated with the Lord Shiva. So that's an example. And the bronze art tradition is still alive today. So you must think in that manner when you are interlinking. Okay. So these are the indications. This is how you need to identify how UPSC is thinking, and that is how you need to try to link while you are studying. Okay. So these are some more questions, and this question this year was evident. It is asking about resilient vigor and breadth of life, and this is one more area. Usually what happens, we will only read some examples about those kingdoms, the works that they have done. We don't dive into the depth of the work, but UPSC has started to ask about the depth of the work. This is not the first question. There was another question, probably I don't think it is here, where he is asking to explain about those part. It is not about the contribution of Chandela here, it is about the depth, the fine craftsmanship in the works of Chandela. So, for that you must go and study the monuments, means just look at the photos, try to see what is there and try to Google it out. That way you will understand why the monument is significant, and whatever monuments or something significant has been asked in UPSC, that is UNESCO site, even in pre or in mains. And UPSC will not pick some random thing or some very lesser known thing and ask it as a question. It is very clear. It will be either very significant monument, or it will be a UNESCO recognized site. So, this Chandela art forms are UNESCO recognized as Khajuraho, right. So, it was about that. And you can see the questions from the role of geographical factors towards the development of ancient India. This question again, GS1 is no more compartmentalized. Don't prepare with this mindset that art and culture, yes, these 7 questions are separate, history this is separate, society this is separate, and geography this is separate. No, the questions are designed by interlinking. So, this is one question. Geography is linked with development of ancient India, history and geography is linked. And there was one more question, I think most of you guys would have studied, why Panipat was chosen as the battlefield often. I do not remember the exact question, but this is how it was. There was a geography and history mixture, alright. And there was one more question where geopolitics has been interlinked with geography, about resource. I think I am not able to recall that, probably we will see that question ahead, alright. So, you must study, because see, human society is not something that is compartmentalized. Society, polity, economy, geography, everything operates in hand. It is not like you are sitting here, it is society, you are paying fees, that is economy, and I am using this size of square plot, this is geography, alright, and you are using light and fan, that is technology. So, every part of human endeavor is a multitude of these aspects. You cannot see that I will be social and without geography, right. Can you imagine that? So, that is how it is. Do not think that this is something very difficult, or sorry guys, I think it is not silent. Do not think that this is something we need to sit and interlink. No, it is just there. You need to be aware whenever you are studying. Okay, whatever you study, you must understand its social, geographical, political and economic aspects. Everything has these 4 aspects. Okay, that is what is humanities. It must be understood in its holistic sense. So, that focus is what UPSC is seeking from the aspirants. So, try to prepare with that orientation, alright. So, these are again questions from Indian heritage and culture, the Bhakti movement, specifically about the lyre and bull figures. So, these are not some random questions. Every day, whenever you are transacting, you are using the Ashoka Stambha symbol, right, Ashok Lanchan, because such is the significance. Only those things are picked and asked, not some random things. Okay, now coming to modern history themes. So, before that, let us discuss the, shall we discuss the framework for ancient history, answer writing framework, or shall we discuss themes of modern history and then together discuss the frameworks? I want inputs from you guys. It will be, yeah. Sorry? No, answer writing framework for art and culture madana first. Okay. See, for I need a space here. Which one? This one, right? Okay. See, ancient history, you don't get any data, right? The typical data definition, that kind of introduction doesn't work here because you don't generally have data. But what you can do is write introduction. Introduction you can write either by mentioning the period or by capturing the significance of that aspect. I will try to show you with an answer then, but this is the simplest way, which is very safe and which is very easy to kickstart writing. Okay, if you start to sit and think, you are actually losing 1 minute there. You can do it while you are practicing, but when you are writing, this is the most simplest, safest and crisp approach. Then coming to body, you must address few things. One, what is asked, the context of the question. Alright, and the second thing is diagrams. Please try to bring diagrams. For example, in stupa we know we can draw diagrams, temple architecture, alright. In art forms we can if it is something depictable, we can draw diagrams, or sometimes we can create a flow. Flow yavaga madabodu andre, when we can do is when he is asking about development of something, it will be evolved ala. If suppose temple architecture, development of temple architecture in India, so temple architecture didn't happen overnight. It started from that basic, towerless roof. From then it evolved into that Nagara style, then Dravida style, then Vesara style. This can be a simple diagram there. Okay, with time, if you just are able to recall time, you can simply write time here. Say it is 3rd century, 3rd to 5th century, 6th century, 9th century, then 10th century. You can simply mention the Gupta early temples, then Nagara style, then Dravida style, then Vesara style. So this can be simplistic depiction. Okay, context of the question here can be what he is asking. It requires questions to answer me this part, but let me try in general. Context usually asks about contributions. When he is asking about contributions, it has to come in the structured manner. Contributions can be in social aspect, cultural aspect and political aspect, as well as art and architecture. Alright, this is general structure, and if it is any other specific context, you can create heads based on it. Okay, since we can't discuss for every individual question, this is what is general. So conclusion, how to write conclusion. It's not that people will not know about these points. Even if they are not writing it in a structured manner, still they will be writing the same points. Okay, but examiner won't make much difference, particularly in history questions, if they are writing this part, whether in this subheads or directly. But what matters more is how you are concluding. Alright, the conclusion should come very strong. We already know themes, right? We discussed there are some 7-8 themes. For every theme you can create or you can identify and store some conclusions which can be used in that theme irrespective of the kind of question. Whatever the question be, if it is about temple architecture or any stone architecture, I can write a simple definition irrespective of specificity, whether it is Guptas, Cholas, whatever. I created one such conclusion, I used to write temples are living library. All right, living library of our ancient heritage. See, this is what will bring value. Does it make sense? You can use this conclusion to any such question. One theme, keep ready, because all, how many questions will you get from these 7 themes in that one paper? Two questions, right? At best 2 questions. So don't think when you are preparing in isolation, it might feel like why should I restrict to one? Let me collect more. Because here we will be studying them in isolated manner. We will feel that let us keep unique thing for everything. But when it is clubbed together into entire paper, the revision and reproduction becomes difficult. That is why keep it simple and keep it reusable. So try to create such conclusions, or you can create some historians based quotes here, but keep them generic, and you can simply instead of ancient you can say specific Chola tradition, or it's simply living library or a mirror of Cholan tradition. Such generic things if you create and store, you will add a value and conclude stronger. So this is how you need to approach for ancient history questions. And even if it is Buddhist, Sufism, Buddhism question, same thing. The conclusion, try to sit and prepare once, introduction and conclusion. The rest part you will be knowing, and most of the aspirants will be knowing those parts. But conclusion, if it is coming strong, then that impresses the evaluator. Alright. So that is what will fetch you that extra half mark, and that extra half mark is going to cumulatively add into that 7-8 extra marks per paper and 30 to 40 marks cumulatively over 7 papers. Alright. So let's move to, so you guys have anything on this particular? Okay, let's move to modern history. So modern history, there are 3 main themes. One is about the freedom struggle. The freedom struggle, the focus is on the events that happened, the contributions that were made by different leaders and different ideological groups. Alright, so this is the main theme. And when it is coming to the colonial administration, it is more on impact on tribes, impact on peasants, impact on education system, impact on administration, impact on police, impact on bureaucracy, impact on etc., impact on or how it has remained today, right, the legacy. So that is what will be focused about colonial administration. And the third part is about the role of administrators, the viceroys and governor generals. So that part can be asked. So these are the main parts in history. Did I leave anything? Okay. So broadly there are only 3 things. One is colonial administration impact, that is the core theme. The second thing is freedom struggle events and contribution in freedom struggle. Third thing is administrators role. See, same thing, it is split and written. Significant personality, sorry, there is one more thing. So social religious reform, pardon me, since it's been quite some time and I am relieved of studying again, some things gone out of my mind. Okay. So social religious reform movements, this is one thing, and you can always expect one question from colonial impact and administration clubbed together, ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಒಂದು ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಎರಡು ಸೇರಿಸಿ, and one question from freedom struggle either events or contribution, and one question from social religious reform movements or its impact. So ಈ 3 areas ಇಂದಾನೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ if you sit and analyze every year's paper. All right. So same thing, Ma Jyotirao Phule's question was this time around. You need to since we know the theme, right? Now we know the theme. All we require to do is sit and make that notes and add that extra value. Kutkondu that extra value we need to add. How many themes we get at the end of the day? Maybe 30 themes. All you need to do is add those 30 lines extra. Sit and make those extra lines unique to you. That's how your answers will be differentiated. Otherwise, it's not like, I'll be writing very different content or you'll be writing very different content. It's history. Everyone will be writing the same content, maybe a point less or more. That's all right. But what impresses is those part. What you are bringing, that reflects that you have put a hard yard, and that reflects that you have really studied well, and that is rewarded. It's not just your content that is rewarded. It is the evaluator also rewards that. If he feels that the effort is there, the reward will be more. All right. So, important contributions and major issues: colonial policy and institutional legality, administrative policies and civil services. Same thing that we discussed. The theme is there, the pointers are there. I will try to show you my notes where I exactly made based on this. And this time around, Jyotirao Phule's question, my notes, I already had it. It's not like only I had it. Everyone, it is already there in book. I am just trying to point that it is right in front of us. Just we need to sit and prepare for it. All right. Contributors from different parts. Same thing. Contributions. All right. In freedom struggle, from different parts, different leaders, and different ideological groups. So this is about the questions in last 5 years. The last 5 years, the questions have bit evolved in modern history. They are no more straight questions like what is Quit India movement. Yes, it was there in last, I think, 24. Questions are bit analytical. They are expecting what you have understood from that period of history or that episode of history. So those things are being asked. So try to see history not just as fact, try to see that as a lesson to be learnt. So be mindful on it. What else? Is there anything left? Yes, there is this comparison question that has been emerged in recent years. So try to, and the comparison will be not between any two random leaders. Comparison will be between those leaders who are often in mute ಮಾಡಿ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ. ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಪ್ಪ. Okay, so the comparison will be not between any two random leaders. It will be between those two leaders who often clashed with their views. So while you are studying history, try to find out who is criticizing who. So if you find that, you will find that comparison will be between these two. There will be one more comparison which I think is waiting to come. It will be between Mahatma Gandhi and Tilak, because both of them differed over lot of things, and Mahatma Gandhi ji derived lot from Tilak's approach. And see the impact, colonial impact. He is asking about the famines. Famine was not natural during colonial period. It was due to gross administrative mismanagement. So that the impact question has been created in such phrases. But the bottom line is simple: impact of colonial administration in various aspects. So that's about modern history, post independence consolidation and reorganization. Ilinda, from here you will be getting at best one question, and that question will be primarily focused on national integration and national redevelopment. Sorry, redevelopment annadkinta reconstruction, post colonial reconstruction, because after independence India was left in a very bad situation. The policies and the measures that India took right after independence were very, very critical in holding India politically, socially and economically together. Imagine the impact of the SRC, State Reorganization Committee. If that was not there, there would have been lot of political frictions. So that is why that question comes often repeatedly. It's not like the UPSC repertoire has only that question. It is because the impact of the question, the impact of the event is so huge that it is one of the foundational element in modern India's political integration. So that significance makes it very important that UPSC tends to ask the question again and again. In prelims also you might have saw, like what is parliament, that question will come almost every year, right? The principle of parliamentarian principle, it is because it's not like UPSC doesn't have any other question from polity. It is because that is so foundational concept that he expects everyone to know it. So that's why that questions keep on repeating. Same here. So when we talk about post independence, national integration based question will be asked, and about reconstruction, land reforms. Alright, land reforms and green revolution was how we started to rebuild ourselves. We started from a poor, poverty stricken, hunger suffered nation where most of the population didn't even get 2 meals and a proper education. So in that situation we came with these policies, and there can be one more question, but I don't expect that to come in at least next 5 years, which will be what are other policy measures that India initiated post independence which had impact on public welfare and inclusive development. There were a lot of such measures. You might, if you just try to recall, the first thing is tribal development plan right after independence, MTDPs and all, and the second thing will be I can't remember the name, sorry, I am not getting that word. The salaries and pensions of royal houses were taken out by Indira Gandhi. What we call that? Privipus. Abolition of privipus. That is also very important because that brought every people as equal. Until then, although we were equal, it put those princely houses above us. So that was an important measure in equality, social equity. And third thing was nationalization of banks, because until then only few elite section could have borrowed and got the funds. No normal public would have got loans or anything. So that made a very crucial difference in development. And after that, major reform is 1980s technological adoption, C. by Rajiv Gandhi ji, and then 1991 economic reforms. So that timeline you should know. That is what UPSC will be focusing on. He is not worried about what event happened in post independence. When it comes to event, it's about the political integration, which is SRC and early days Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel's efforts, and the land reforms. And if you take these two out, it will be emergency if it is event based or issue based, and the fourth thing will be the entire picture, the impact of post independent policies on national development or public welfare. That could be a question. So that's how you should study post independence, not simply like it is one more a list of topics and a range of these things. He won't directly ask what event happened and what was the impact if it is very small thing. The impact and such questions, if at all they have to come, it has to be very, very significant. Okay. See here the integration question, it's quite repeated. I think it's not given here. And the nation building and consolidation. And nation building and consolidation, it's about national development, that I was trying to tell. The private purse, nationalization of banks, green revolution, those things come here. The land reforms, educational reforms. The question has already been asked. I forgot what I wrote this time. Trace India's consolidation process during early phase of independence in terms of polity, economy, education and international relations. Just try to quickly brainstorm. Okay, in polity, imagine what we did. We chose universal adult franchise. one vote, one value, one person, right? So that brought political equality, and we adopted a constitution for ourselves. So these two are landmark. Apart from that, there were sequence of judicial oriented reforms, 24, 42, 44, right? They cemented and made constitution more strong. And next thing, economy, what did we do for that green revolution? Then economic reforms and 21-point program. And about education, what the policies we might have read in education, we might have read the evolution of educational policies in India. You could simply write about that. And international relations, in 1945, what we do? We ascended to UN, and then we adopted Panchsheel principles, and then we started with Act East, neighborhood, etc., etc. That's how you need to quickly identify. It's not like you just need to. It's like it's your home, and where there are shelves. You have to pick one book from here, one book from there, one book from there. Then together you should make a bunch of books. That's how the UPSC will be expecting you to use your knowledge. It seems like more analytical, because we know that if anyone direct question is asked, UPSC understand that the candidate will be prepared, but this requires a bit of imagination and application. Okay, this is where the true test happens. So try to see things in holistic manner. Right in the beginning I said that polity, economy, society and geography are not isolated compartments. They come together, they act together, you can't take one out of other. Okay. So regional aspiration and federation, same thing, it's about national integration and political consolidation. Tribal integration and social justice, same thing, welfare of people. So post independent PYQs, just now we discussed this. See, the food import, the basic need, right? As a nation, we were given rotten grains under PL 480 scheme by USA, that too at a condition. All right. So we were, although on paper we were sovereign, by de facto we were threatened and controlled or manipulated through the superpowers. So that's why we chose to make our own food. First, get independent in fulfilling our own basic needs. So that is when the idea of green revolution was born. Okay. So that is the core area the question is coming from. He is asking from net food importer, right? The same theme he is just asking in applied manner. So the themes are same, just that the questions he is asking you to use that knowledge to the context. All right. Same administrative and cultural issues in the integration process, and whether formation of new states in recent years is beneficial or not. These are about same thing, political integration and consolidation. World history. I myself have put very little effort in this portion, because the cost benefit is quite less. All we get is one question at best, and most likely that will be either from the major revolutions, the American, French, Russian and Japanese and Indian. There is no Indian revolution, sorry. So these are the four major revolutions we will be getting the question, and the question will be about what happened in, not what happened in the revolution, it is about lessons from the revolution and the legacy or the impact that revolutions carried after the revolution or till today. So only these two areas he will ask from those revolutions. And the second most important area is industrial revolution and its impact. Industrial revolution, he asked one question about railways, right? There was a question in 2024 or 2023 I suppose about railways. How railway, in post-colonial nations, there was some question I am not able to remember. It's directly about the colonialization and colonization impact. Okay, that was a question from world history perspective, because railway was direct outcome of colonial powers. Railway was created in India or say in any other colonized state to make their administration easy. It was not laid to make our country connected, but it had its own positive impact, because railways are called as arteries of nation, because it connects every corner, and when it is connected it is easy to get integrated. Imagine it takes you 30 days to go from here to say a border. Anyone could attack. So by the time you reach, you are done. It's not just external, even it is internal as well. Imagine there is a huge internal disturbance. By the time you reach and act, the damage has been done. So the railways made sure that the army and the police is mobilized quickly and the things are taken into control. So that benefit that led to political, that is one of the very important aspect in political integration of postmodern India. Okay. That question could come, what are the factors that led to political integration of India in modern history, right? What are the factors? Railway, infrastructure, education, administration, legal. You might have read this in your spectrum and all, but this is how the UPSC will pull one string to create a question. Okay. Again on these ideological aspects, because all modern political ideologies, they are from last 500 years, because most of them they originated in France and Russia. France is often called as political laboratory of world, that's why. Okay. In India it is Uttar Pradesh, we have hundreds of parties there and all kinds of ideologies. So the major ideologies, colonization and its impact, and the major revolutions and industrial revolution, impact of these four things on world and on India. So these are the 8 combinations that you will get to prepare, nothing much. So be prepared for only these things. Okay, sometimes what happens, some edge question may come, just don't get bothered, because you are at the end of the day you are competing relatively. It's not like you will miss out very hugely by not attempting it well, because most of your competitors will be in a managing situation. Try to do that cost benefit analysis. Okay. And see, revolutions, world wars, I missed this part, world wars. Okay, same thing, because the modern world, technological world, taking from your hairpin to aeroplane, it is outcome of the defense research in the World War 1 and 2. Okay. So that's why it becomes very important, because it has shaped a global governance architecture. UN is product of world wars. Okay. It has shaped technological direction, all your mobility, all the the computational technologies, the chips, the semiconductor chip, the mobile, you should thank it for the world wars, because if there was no world war, there was no compulsion for any country to think fast, because they wanted to guide their missiles. That is when computation came. They wanted to decode the message of enemy. That is when computation came. So that is when the technology started to kickstart. Space ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದರೆ, space was just an imagination until it was used for military advantage. So such is the significance of world wars. It has shaped our society in post world war, it has shaped our governance architecture post world war, it has shaped our technology. So when it has shaped these 3 things, the questions could be very specific. Okay. Colonization and structural shifts, political philosophies and forms. Okay, based on themes. So that's, I won't be discussing any live answer writing on world history, because I remember very barely little, so I won't be able to express that. So let's move to, we are still in world history. See, same thing, the relevance, modern day relevance and its impact, the historical revolutions, impact of those things. The enduring relevance of French Revolution. This was asked this time, right? Let's move a bit fast. Notes making and value addition. Where is that guy? I'll show you that PDF. I think they have not uploaded it. History. Shall we take a question? So let's take a question. So let's take this question. Last year's question only. The sculptors filled the Chandela art form with resilient vigor and breadth of life. Elucidate. So please think for a minute. We'll discuss. All right. So the third part will be a diagram. Okay. You can simply draw a panel. Okay. You can simply show a dancing woman or something. Okay. Or you can simply draw the temple. Try to find some neat diagrams. These are not representative of Chandelier forms, but yes, a small diagram will make your answer interactive. You need not sit and become Ravi Verma. Simple outlines. Okay. And then next most important thing is, any question if that is being asked, that means it is very significant and we have a lesson to learn from it. That is when you need to write that significance or relevance. All right. So what is the significance? One, it is the zenith of Nagara style. Right. It is peak of Nagara style of architecture. Peaked here. Okay. Second thing is, it is expression of social reality of that time, right? And what could be the third thing? Expression of social reality in Nagara style. What could be any other thing that is coming to your mind? I think that's all. But you are simply writing 2 extra points here. Can you imagine? After writing that, you are putting couple of diagrams and then writing 2 extra points, and we'll conclude it strongly. Same thing that I told then for temples, you can use that. It as a living library. You can that point can be used here itself. It is a living library of India's heritage. This could be a point itself. And here I made a conclusion which I had it prepared earlier, so I will try to tell you that. There will be some more other historians who would have commented about all events or all aspects in India. In Spectrum, you will be seeing lot of people have made comments. There will be a list of comments itself. You need to try and pick that common generic one and add it to your mains notes. Not everything. Here I used to write, there is this Percy Brown statement that is generic, but I am not able to remember it, but I know specific about it. Al-Biruni said, Khajuraho is a city of gods. Alright. So you can use this to conclude. You can just add some more thing. So such was the magnificence of the Chandela's contribution to art and architecture. That way you can conclude. Alright. What we can see now? We introduced bit solidly. Alright. And we tried to generate points which are relatable. 7 points, even if you have not studied it in particular. And even if you don't know the temple diagram, everyone knows the Nagara style. You can simply write that. It is anyways Nagara style, there are multiple staircases, alright, platform something, you can simply write that. And then in panel you can write any, some guy sitting and some guy this thing, you can say that drama or some panel, because those things will be there. or you can depict some god and say the panels on this thing, and then we wrote 3 extra points and then a strong conclusion. So, we have 3, 4, 5 dimensions and 1 point, 7 points, 8 points, 9 point, 10, 11, 12, 13, 13 points, alright. Do not you think for a 10 marker 13 points with a diagram and 5 dimensions makes a holistic and complete answer? Did we do any hard work here to write 14, 15 points? No, only for introduction and conclusion and making some small diagrams which you already know. All your effort goes in building this, okay. So, that is up for your history part. Let us move to, so the second major thing, geography, okay. Unlike your society, history, your polity, your science, everything, geography is totally different when it comes to answer writing. UPSC is not looking for your structured multi-dimensional multi-points answer. UPSC is looking for your understanding of geographical concepts. That is why the direct questions come. Explain what is mantle plume, explain what are primary rocks. These are basic elements that directly are picked from the basic geography, okay. And last year also there was a question, what was the difference between onshore and offshore reserves, alright. It is about basic question, where and why the reserves form. It forms in anticline and here it forms under I think syncline. So, that was the difference. So, you need to understand them in concepts and the marks is rewarded for explanation of that. I will ask a simple question, tell me how did you come to this hall? You can tell it in one line, right. I came by bus, I came by walk or anything. If I ask you to explain it in 3 lines, can you elaborate? Yes, you can simply say I took a bus, I came from there to here and then I got into lift, I came to 3rd floor and then I asked at reception and then I entered the hall. Same thing you can tell in elaborated manner. Here also same thing. You need to explain the concepts with diagram neatly. Explanation has to be elaborate. Simple definition about what is cyclone does not work. When the question he is asking, because here you can't generate dimensions, okay. Geography is science and it is objective. You might have understood why GS1 is not fetching good, people are not fetching good marks, because this is objective. Although we are writing answers in other parts, this part, if you are whoever are preparing well geography, they will get really good marks, because this is objective. Your reward will be directly based on the content you are writing, okay. In other parts you need to do some bit of sparkling. So, here it is quite direct, unlike prelims where you will be knowing the definition and things in one line. Here you need to do it bit elaborated manner, okay, and you need to develop interlinkage between physical geography and human geography, alright. So, major themes I think most of you know, but let me reiterate. Physical geography, alright, it includes geomorphology, the landforms, oceanography, climatology and natural biodiversity, etc. And in Indian geography, I am not telling you based on syllabus, because syllabus is designed to limit it for exam, but I am telling you based on themes. In Indian geography, the focus is on India's landforms, alright, India's resources, India's what we call that geographical divisions, the Himalayas, the Western Ghats, the Northeast, the Deccan Traps, etc., etc. And there is emphasis and special focus on monsoon. And 5th on human economy part of India. Human economy means population, urbanization and the mineral resources, okay. So, these 2 are the broad divisions, these are only technical divisions. We can just see geomorphology and crustal movements, and there is one more aspect, disaster management, okay. Atmospheric dynamics and climatology. So these are themes that are created technically: oceanography, geophysical phenomena. It includes every physical phenomena, like your cyclone, thunders, twisters. There was a question on twisters, right? So it is from this part. Natural hazards, because geophysical phenomena directly have impact on human life and property, and whatever phenomena that has impact on human life and property is of interest for human geography, and they will generally be asked in hazards or in significance part. It is not that human will study about something that we does not require. Human is so self centric that we will only study what will help us to grow, progress or develop. So human geography concerns about only those aspects. There was a question on aurora borealis, right? The northern lights, same phenomena. It is already there. I had the notes prepared. That is the level of anticipation you should try to develop. Okay, because we know the phenomena is part of syllabus. We need to sit and make a list of phenomena, geophysical phenomena, and make a neat note of it. That is how your preparation will complete, rather than simply picking whatever the book or the GS notes that are available. That won't fulfill your preparation. Okay, try to identify themes, sit and make a note. There was a question on this strait and isthmus as well, right? These are basic concepts that are directly linked with human economy, polity and society, right? Why are we worried about straits and isthmus? Because they can choke countries like America, China, Gulf. We see what is happening with the Strait of Hormuz, right? So the parts, the geographical aspects which are very critical for a nation or a human development will be of core interest for UPSC. Okay. So this is about natural resources. Okay, because again we only take care of those things which are useful for us. We want food, so we want land. We want energy, so we want coal, petroleum, oil, gas, and we want cloth. That is why we have jute, cotton industries, and we want infrastructure. That is why we have iron and steel, cement, etc., industries. We want health. We have pharma industries. We want technology. We have semiconductor industries, and etc. Maybe I have left one or two. So you know that the questions will be from this part, and the questions will always be about the distribution of it and the factors responsible for it and its changing trend. Only 3 areas the question will come, nothing much. When you know that the topics are these, the dimensions are these, all you require to do is sit and prepare for it. Okay. Resource distribution and geopolitics. See the interlinkage. Assess the significance of critical minerals for the global economy. Highlight the distribution in Southeast Asia. Right. Same questions. Same question in a different form. I mean the application part. He asked about Strait and Hormuz, how it impacts on global economy. Same thing. He is linking the geography with economy and geopolitics. Okay. Industrial location factor. Same thing. Service sector and high-tech footprints, its elaboration of, or segregation of industries, and human population, because population is taken for granted. If we study history, human began with small bands, 15 to 20 people. That was the population size of one unit, not like 150 billion. So that was outcome of lot of factors, and this has resulted into lot of challenges as well. Okay. Any policy, any social, economic, political decisions that we make are based on number of people we have, right? Suppose you are going from here after this class. If you are 3, you will take a auto. If you are 4, you will take a cab. If you are alone, you will take a walk or go by bus or a bike. So don't you think the demography size is impacting every part of your decision? So that's how population has to be viewed as. It's not something numbers. No. Demography is not just numbers. It's a dynamic force. So that's why it is a core interest. Almost every year or every alternative year you will get a question. So you should have that one page notes ready here. What is demography? What is the trend that is being changing? What are the impacts of overpopulation, or what are the impacts of underpopulation? How can we manage the population? What were the policies that we had historically so far? So these are the broad things that the questions will come. There was a question on demographic winter. I think the question on same thing. Demographic winter was what it is. Everyone know. Even if you are not understanding the things, always go by the terms, because English is silly. Okay, it tries to take a noun and make it a verb. Those who copy, I can tell that he is copying, or I can tell he is aping. I am using the noun ape as aping. Winter means what? Stagnation, right? Everything comes to halt. So that's what is demographic winter. Okay, so you can use that sense to come at, if you are not understanding questions, try to use that sense and write boldly, because nothing else you can do in those 7 minutes. Rather than thinking and I don't know what to do, just come at a point and write it. Okay. So population and urbanization. Why urbanization is very critical means, entire world and human civilization in modern day, the lifestyle, economy, society, polity, everything is centered around cities. That's why cities become very, very important, and they study their issues, the measures to solve, policies, etc. become very, very crucial, and that is where questions are coming from. It's not that it's just one urbanization topic. Don't look those topics as that just keyword. Try to view and visualize the importance of it. Then you will understand that why UPSC is asking the questions frequently from this area. Okay. See, where are we? Service sector, high tech, and demographics and human settlements. See, there is this question: discuss the trend of spatial growth of mega cities in developing countries and the associated social environment challenges. Say, urbanization challenges. One part is set, which you should be prepared prior, and the trend of spatial growth, and like I told you, demographic trend that you should be aware of. Rural, what is the trend in migration from rural to urban, urban to rural, or from cities to this thing, or in gender, what is the trend in gender migration, whether it is male or female, and what is the migration between states or regions, or sometimes internationally, okay, sometimes continent wise. So that trend you should have it at least a brief sense, not like you should go and sit and make a note for one trend. No, just what it is, you should be aware. Identify, these are some PYQs that have been coming in last 5 years. Okay, let's briefly try and look at it. Identify and discuss the factors responsible for diversity of natural vegetation in India. Same thing, we discussed natural vegetation, the theme is intact. Describe the characteristics and types of basic geography question. What are the forces that influence ocean currents? Everyone is ready to answer best this question, because I think this has appeared thrice in UPSC mains. And troposphere, see again same thing, basic things. He has asked troposphere once, he will ask stratosphere next, maybe ionosphere next. You have the theme here, identify which could be next. Okay, why is India, he asked, based on this you should have sensed the aurora borealis. Because of this question I prepared for aurora borealis, all layers of atmosphere, and luckily, although I prepared, I didn't write mains in 24, I skipped that year. Although I was able to derive, that didn't come to my help. Why is India considered as a subcontinent? See, same thing, geography, your polity, economy, society are integrated in this question. Okay, why we call something subcontinent? It has to be a geographic part, demographic part, and a political part. So that's what you need to bring up. So briefly mention the alignment of major mountain ranges, major geophysical landforms, right? Mountains, passes, straits, isthmus, etc. Same things. You know that. Go and Google one thing, you will get the list. Prepare for them. Nothing much. If you are not able to prepare individually, make a group. Okay, how many topics can be from this part? Okay, landforms. How many landforms are there? Deserts, glaciers, fertile these things, what mountains, maybe some 6 or 7. If one of you take one topic, in 2 days you will get the entire notes. Okay. So try to collab. There is this deficiency of collaboration culture. All right. I could see it since few years. So I always tell students to collab in studying, because the more you work together, the more efficiently you will be studying, and more of your lacunas will be filled by each other. Okay. If you are walking alone, you might walk fast, you won't walk for long. Okay. So the UPSC demands staying consistent for long. It doesn't reward those who are sprinting for few minutes, that few days, few months, and then getting exhausted. Motivation won't last long if you are just doing it in rush. Okay. So how can artificial intelligence and drones be effectively used along? See, integration of technology and geography, science and tech and geography. Imagine the connection you should understand. So drone means immediately the geospatial technology will come into picture. You might have studied this in vision and all, right? This is a very repetitive topic that has been there in news for last 3 years. That is how you need to get prepared. There was a question about the Mars, I think Jupiter, sorry. There was a question on Juno mission. You know that the question has come. Your task was to prepare for all such major missions, the Chandrayaan mission, the MOM mission, Mars mission, and this Aditya L1 mission, and there are some couple of NASA's missions, big missions, the Artemis, and I am not able to recall the other. Okay. When you know that, prepare them. So geography, PYQs, human development, field QPs, economic development. So this is a holistic integration of entire paper 1, right? Here we have history, economy, polity, geography all coming at one point. How history? Because economic development we have issues of colonialism, colonial legacy, that is where history comes, and geography comes because we have diverse regions. The Ganga belt is fertile, and the Rajasthan and the North Karnataka belt, it is semi-arid to arid. So that regional disparity will be there. And human development, why it is failing? Because education is lacking, right? So these things interlinkage on the ISTA, nothing much. So water resource, can we survive without water for any day? So what do you think, UPSC is fool enough to ask the same question? Because he is asking those questions which are very, very crucial for our survival, existence. Basic human development to basic human progress ಏನು ಬೇಕು, that is always important and hot topic for UPSC. Although it is repeating, it will always remain a hot topic. Okay. Now you today or tomorrow when you become a civil servant, your focus will be again on these basic things, providing drinking water, providing basic health, providing education, and that is why those themes come in your GS2, GS4 and essay. Essay almost every alternate year there will be a topic on women or education, because gender empowerment is part of human development. Okay. And human development, it is at core of governance. Now Madade, we do everything for development, right? Human development. So that becomes a core and remains a core area forever. Discuss the natural resource potentials of Deccan Trap. Yes, you guys can do this. These are basic repeated themes. Okay, note making, I'll try to show some of couple of my notes where you can get some idea. I hope, I don't know, because they are tailored to me. Okay, that's about geography themes and how you have to prepare for them. So about answer writing, shall we do one question? Yavud Marana? 25, which one is 25? Acha, I have a 25 question here. Discuss the distribution and density of population in the Ganga river basin. See again, population and human. This is question of human geography. Okay, river basin with special reference to land, soil, water resources. All right. Can you briefly brainstorm over this? We'll take a minute and then write the answers. Acha, I have to discuss answer framework. For geography, let me briefly discuss the answer framework and then let's take the question. The intro has to be simple. Okay. Intro, most likely outrightly take the concept. Don't deviate. Okay, this is objective question. Wasting time over writing superficial things doesn't make sense. Directly explain the concept. Okay. Or if you have, so in some cases there will be reports or recent news. Suppose in disaster related questions you will have any events. All right. Recently, the floods happened here and here. That can be an introductory line. Okay. Don't spend too much time on that. Outrightly jump to what has been asked, the demand. Okay. Demand, if it is a concept, about concept, you need to elaborate and explain it. Elaborate neatly with sketches and diagrams, sketches and maps. Okay, these are indispensable. You can avoid writing diagrams in any other part, but in geography means diagrams means geography. Okay, map is indispensable. And you can create a dimension about contextual. We know that based on demand we can create the significance, limitations or impact. It is contextual. Okay. Okay. Or sometimes it is about when it is about world geography, you can bring a third dimension, India's dimension. Okay. Indian context. This will make your answer holistic. Suppose they have asked about distribution of mineral resources like coal in the world. You can do this part, and in that world map, all you can do is show India here and do this thing. That will give justice to the demand. But you make another India's diagram. Okay. If you are showing it with more specificity, that can add value. All you need to simple outline sketch, nothing big. Okay. Simple outline sketches. Indian context. When it is about world geography ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕೇಳಿದಾಗ specifically include 2 lines about India in the box. Okay. And then about these dimensions antru idde, and you can conclude by, when the concepts are asked, conclude by highlighting its significance to human development or human economy part. Or if it is a phenomena, try to link it to climate change, because most of the geophysical phenomena that we are observing today, the trend, the nature has been changing. It is because of somewhere directly or indirectly it is associated with climate change. So these are generic things which you can always use. Human development here means you can use, so suppose it's a strait and isthmus, you can say that these have been the, because these are the main things that have connected landforms, right? What we can phrase, straits and isthmus have been the bridge between civilizations. Can we do it? How strong it sounds, right? That's how you need to bring that element. For that you need to sit and think or use your GPT now. These days you have that. If we didn't have GPT, it was difficult for you, and all you could have done is think on your own or try to gain some insights from toppers copies. But now you have that independent force. Everyone has their own groundwater now, independent source. right? You are not dependent on supply, external supply. So please make use of it, and everyone can excel uniquely. Okay. So this is the basic structure. Okay. So shall we take up that question? What was it? Distribution and the density of population in the Ganga belt, land, soil and water. Okay. This is how you need to break the question. Okay, I can't mark here, it seems. He is asking about population, density and distribution. This is the concept. Okay, this concept, when it is applied to specific context, Ganga basin, that becomes your answer. What are the basic things that define distribution and density of human population? Please, some of you. Water, fertile land, agriculture, employment. Yes, yes, anything can be. Fisheries, then agriculture, yes, it is included. Can you be loud? Health, yes, healthcare and education facilities, ease of life, like because cities are dense because of convenience, right? Yes, push factors, safety, right? This is the concept, but you have to apply it to specific context. So what was the question? Distribution and density, right? So the intro can be simply this, using the concept as the introductory part. Population, or you can directly tell population or population density and distribution is outcome of multitude of dimensions, multitude of factors. So this could be one, or you can use a contextual based introduction. Here the Ganga is the context, so you can say Ganga basin what is the area that it covers? Some 20%, 25%. Okay, let's assume it covers 25% of area, and say some 60 crore people, right? Roughly, right? So this could be introduction. Then coming to body, it's about, and before coming to body you must briefly use the context itself as a filler, because it's a 15-mark question. When it is 15-mark question, you can use context as the filler. What is the context? Population concept, population density and diversity. You can simply write factors determining population density and distribution. Here economic factors, political factors, political stability, right? Why do people from Bangladesh or Afghanistan migrate? Political instability, right? Why do people from Bihar and West Bengal migrate? Economic factors. And why do people from in olden days used to migrate from or say during summer people migrate to winter areas? It is because of geographic factors. And what can be other factors? Any other? No, I mean broader parts. In geography we can in detail we can discuss social factors, alright, or you can simply do with 3 things. So this will add a depth to the concept. You are explaining the concept and using the space and trying to write a new dimension and a couple of points. So that will manage your 15-mark answer with a quantity and a quality and a holistic manner. Okay. So that's one part, and Now directly coming to the demand of the question, core demand. Core demand, point 1. Okay, what does it provide? It has broken into 3 parts: land, soil, water, right? So let us begin with which part? Land. Now tell me, what is the land part in this Ganga belt? The land, the terrain is hilly, right? The terrain is flat, the terrain is deltaic, right? In hilly, what is the impact on population distribution? Scarce. And flat, high, same, very high, okay. And what else can be land? Settlement, it affects settlement, right? Houses, you can elaborate it here. Settlements, easy to settle, and safety, okay. And what is the second part? You need to write it in a point wise manner, okay. I am only giving you indications. And if it is soil, okay, tell me, what is a soil? You have terai, you have khadar, you have bhangar. In terai, there is no agriculture, not big part, okay. And in khadar and bhangar, you have fertile alluvial land. So whenever it is fertile, the impact on demography is, it is low, it is high, right? And what else we can do with soil? Yes, that is all, okay. And coming to third part, water, okay. Tell me, it is perennial, okay, and it has rich groundwater. What else from water? Reservoirs, and then hydropower plants, right? And then irrigation, more importantly. And tell the impact of this on human population. Perennial, favors settlement, right? So population is high. Groundwater, same thing. Also agriculture, this thing, this can boost to industry because we have electricity. Industry leads to cities, cities attract more population, right? And then here irrigation, agri productivity will be more, okay, more food and can sustain more population, okay. Done. We are generating points right away. You just need, we know that, right? Is there anything that you didn't know or you didn't understood? So all that you need to recall it in structured manner. And geography is incomplete without map. So the trend, we can show it here. Just now we discussed, the trend is emerging very clearly, okay. So this much is required, we no need to go for south. Ganga basin, alright, you can simply write like this, okay. This is the Ganga basin. We know population in this and in this is very very high, okay. In this it is like this bit, right, and if you go here it is just like this. There is a clear trend, are you observing? The population density declines, you can write it as a point, right, and you can make a head, and write the trend in 2 points. Population density increases as we move from the river source to river mouth, and the distribution is bit diverse. In Bundelkhand region, where it is in the distributary part, due to hilly terrain we have lesser population, okay. We can easily divide, right, it is lower Ganga, middle Ganga, upper Ganga, right. Everything we have studied, we are trying to fit it to the given context, alright. So that's about and in geography there is no need to conclude. Okay, it's concept, it's science. Sometimes it's okay if you are not trying to conclude it with a very catchy and flowery things, but simple conclusion can do. This shows that, this can be used, shown as case study. This shows that, or this you can link it to present day. The conclusion can be linking this to present day, right? The Ganga is sustaining these many people, 60 crore people. Don't you think that should ignite the question to preserve the sanctity of Ganga? That can be conclusion. Okay, this highlights the importance of preserving the flow. The Namami Gange mission, you can use this in the conclusion, the flow and the minimum this thing of any river. So that could be conclusion using Namami Gange. That's how you need to integrate different things that you learn. Where Illian disadvantage? What are the disadvantages?
Hydropower plants, there will be displacement.
The context is not about advantage or disadvantage of the river. It's about how the Gangetic belt, its land, water and soil resources affect the number of people staying there. So context is that, right? The point you are trying to tell is relevant but not to the context. Okay. Hope.
It will affect the distribution.
Yes, that we discussed in positive manner. Yes, you can say that it will lead to displacement. Yes, but given the scale of the geography, hydropower plant is one point, and its impact, as we have seen, it's more density than lesser density. You can use it positively only. Don't try to artificially pump the criticism or limitation. If it is there, acknowledge it. Okay, you need not be in that rigid mode ki I'll write advantages and I'll write disadvantages. That part won't work. So the UPSC has come beyond that point. Okay, you can directly use, yes, there can be limitations, or more importantly we cannot call the limitation in this context. We can call inhibitors for population density, right? What can inhibit population density here? The rough terrain, or sometimes displacements, or sometimes anything other that if you find. Heat waves, yes, you can say that. Okay, this can be that additional dimension that will bring quantity to your answer. Okay, anyhow, if you are not writing, you are not going to lose marks, but if you are writing, maybe you can gain that extra half mark. Okay, that was a good concern. Okay, geography. So geography is done. So we are left with society. Let's wind up bit quickly. I think it's been long. Okay, Indian society. So Indian society, earlier what used to happen, there was this trend. I'll make a one-page note for regionalism, communalism, secularism, and India's about women, and done, and about unity and diversity. Those 5 pages, and note on globalization, some few keywords. Okay, and nowadays this is going to fail because the questions are more contemporary and moved beyond those 3 concepts: regionalism, communism and secularism. Altogether one question can be accepted from those 3 concepts, and questions are coming from the present day social challenges, the challenges that women face, the challenges that digitalization, the digital devices brings to children. Those were the question, right? The child cuddling is being replaced by mobile devices, right? And working women related question was there in 2025. How patriarchy is affecting the working women, right? So the questions have become very contemporary. They are not textbook based concepts, and emphasis is also on, like I said in the beginning, we are in a decade where we are taking pride in our indigenous knowledge. Atmanirbharta, right? So that's why the focus is on Indian values. There was a question on tolerance, acceptance and this thing, right? And there will be questions like why Indian society is unique, why it has been surviving for decades, why Indian society is the only civilization that is living, right? Everything boils down to India's ethos, Indian ethos. Why you guys adjust everywhere? Why an average Indian will or can adjust in any corner of the world, but no person in any corner of the world can adjust in India easily or anywhere for that matter? It is because the value has been inculcated right from the moment we are in the womb. Okay, not even after birth. The adjustment is created from there. After birth, you will be given that training. Tamma kodbeku, you have to give it to your, you have to share with them. Okay, so those accommodation parts are ethos of India. That is what has kept India intact. If Indian public didn't had this value of accommodating each other, we would have split into many states. Okay, the integration of India despite this much of diversity in language, region and religion is because the underlying ethos are still the same. Have you ever seen or wondered, you know, you will find that, you will find a proverb or a gade anta heltivala, you will find the same thing in different languages, maybe in slightly different words. The thought is there, only its manner of expression is different. So that is why India has that inherent unity. Okay, so those are the values that define India. We generally call them Indian ethos. Okay, there will be question on it, and there will be question on India's societal features. Societal features, what are India's societal features? Population demographic features, and we have a patriarchal system, and we have a caste system, and we have a class system. What?
Multi-religious.
Multi-religious. So these are the features, salient features. We are a united society in diversity. So these are the general features. So there will be questions on this, 2 questions almost, and 1 question will be on social development and welfare, most likely. That could come in the perspective of the downtrodden, that could be or downtrodden or marginalized or depressed section. Depressed sections are what? Women and the lower caste and the children and physically this thing. Yes, the working class. That, yeah, physical disability. Alright. So these are the depressed and discriminated section. So emphasis will be on lifting them up. So the issue is again the same, right? These are the issues of society, right, today. Because when we talk about the development of all, equality of all, progress of all, then why are these people still not there? So those are the issues and those are the questions, and those are the things which you as a bureaucrat going to address. They are not some currental ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ visional ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. All right, they are the actual issues which we will be going to work on. So that's why they always remain important. So salient features of Indian society: diversity, role of women and women organization, population associated issues, poverty, developmental issues, urbanization and their problems and remedies, effects of globalization on Indian society. So this part, globalization in Indian society, we discuss all other parts. So globalization in Indian society, that can be in any part, any aspect of Indian society. Don't just be that impact on polity, economy or women or children istella. That could be interlinked. Okay, so always don't try and sit and look for resource when it comes to globalization. Just imagine in what ways the elements that are happening in world have affected us, positive or negative. Okay, take anything. Don't you think the present days global integration of economy, economy is integrated, right? The phone that we are using, the chips are manufactured somewhere else, its parts are, other parts are manufactured somewhere else, it's assembled somewhere else, it's shipped and labeled somewhere else, and it is sold somewhere else. So this interdependence and interconnectedness has created the problem. So for whatever impact that they are asking, always try to think from this interlinkage. The negative will be when you think from what if there was no interlinkage. The positive will be what if there will be interlinkage, right? Suppose now you are interlinked, right? Tomorrow you will give water and they will give food. Tomorrow you start to fight, both will die because you are interlinked. So this is the negative part of globalization. And if you are independent, you will find your own food and your own water, and you are finding your own food and own water, both of you will survive. That's why present day there is trend of deglobalization, because countries are looking to safeguard their own sovereignty and security. Alright, why India tries to Atmanirbharta? This is the thing, because some other power tries to manipulate, okay, influence our decisions which are not accepted well as a sovereign nation. So think it in a very basic thing, framework, nothing much. Imagine it a largest perspective. It's just that two people are linked now. But when it comes to globalization, every individual and every inch of world is interlinked. So that's how you have to think, and what it has affected. Both you need to think positive and negative sides. That is very straight question, which even without preparation, okay, you might not not be able to write those fancy words, McDonaldization, okay, but still you can write valid points, and UPSC rewards them. It's not like your reward will be based on those keywords. Everyone knows the keywords, everyone writes them, and everyone is stuck in the 90s. So the reward is not for the keywords. Keywords, yes, it will be easy and it might feel make you more confident, but the crux is the demand. Okay. Salient features and diversity of India. So this part, the structural continuity, evolution and dynamic nature of traditional institutions like caste, family and social identities. Why is caste identity? See, same thing. He is asking about the social change, right? Social change is always a crucial concept, because every day there will be a social change, and whatever we are studying, everything we are studying is a change, because change is the only constant. And social change, under social change you will get lot of questions. This is a theme where you can prior prepare your introduction, conclusion. Just need to change the context. See, caste related changes is a social change, gender related role, gender role related changes is a social change, right? And acceptance of the third gender is a social change, right? Globalization is part of social change. So whatever is happening is a social change. You can make or you can keep some generic introductions and conclusions for social change related questions. Okay. So that's how you need to be bit smart and make your time more productive. Cost benefit analysis. And role of women organization, this is static and everyone has a solid notes. All you can do is add that extra conclusion or very flowery looking phrases. How does patriarchy impact the position of middle class working women? That I think just now we looked at that question, right? So you can look from your own point. Just look at your sister or brother, your mother or your teacher. You will understand. You need not even sit and study. Your mere basic observation will generate a wonderful answer. Maybe you might not have the data. Okay. Population, poverty, and this thing we have discussed in geography itself, human geography. Effects of globalization in Indian society. Yes. How do you account for the growing fast food industry? See, fast food industries are outcome of globalization. Because why fast food? What was the need to make food that is ready to consume? Right? What was the need to make you need to add hot water and eat the Maggi? It is because as a company I can sell more, right? As a MNC I can sell more or I can earn more when I scale it, when I mass produce it. And if you are mass producing something, that becomes fast food, processed and fast food. Okay. Mass production deteriorates quality of food always. And link all your geography, polity, economy aspects to this question. What is this? Fast food. Why do you consume fast food? You don't have time. You are in urban lifestyle. where you have to balance your work life, and where you have more money, you need convenience, and more money means taste preferences will increase, and fast food culture as a psychology has developed due to memes, those things, that part also you can write. And you can also link it to the agriculture economy, because it has some foods, some grains, they are not easy to cook, so that's why the preference is for fast food version of them. So you can link any part, and there is a policy gap to control and abate them, so that is promoting or at least not limiting the spread of street foods. Nowadays in Bangalore we can see there is food outlets until midnight, so that is clear nonsense, all right. Because we are not regulating it, that is what is polity part, right. There has to be a stricter enforcement and regulation of such things, particularly when it is known that it is detrimental to the health of the people. And when the population is not healthy, how can you expect productive work from them, and how can you expect the national development? This might look very small, but when you look at its core, this is small things make really big difference. Social empowerment, communalism, regionalism, secularism, same thing, and the questions have dried out. All you get is application of these concepts. And communalism, forget it, you won't get a question for next decade, okay, because that is not taken as an issue anymore by present regime, okay. Social empowerment, yes, it is there, gender and all those aspects that we discussed, and regionalism and secularism, yes, these will remain an issue. Secularism will not be remaining an issue, but rather it will be asked as secularism as a strength of India. Secularism will not be asked as a weakness of India. If at all question is coming, it will be asked as a strength of India. And regionalism, always prepared. We discussed it in post-independence, same thing, but in developmental, social development context, that's all. Okay, the developmental, same, this part, social empowerment, that includes the tribal development. That's why the question. Does tribal development in India center on two axes, those of displacement and reputation, right? It's outrightly from this dimension, social empowerment. Like we discussed, the marginalized and depressed sections, that is what is our concern, to make sure our vision of inclusive development is achieved. That's why questions are coming. So think in a holistic manner, and those important, significant, nationally relevant areas. So that is where you can expect questions, not from any random things. Those things like child cuddling has been replaced by mobile might seem very silly to you, because it is very significant, because it has generational impact. Imagine, we already know the Gen Z is seen as very chaotic, right? They don't have that emotional balance, the maturity is very poor, the social interaction is very abysmal. All they are good at is questioning and technology usage. Tech savvy, they are tech savvy, they will ask lot of questions, asking questions is really good, but they are very short termism, that makes entire generation vulnerable, okay. Because every individual of you, whoever is sitting, if you start to look for your next 3 months or 6 months, everyone will start to stab one another, not directly. The corruption, lack of integrity will become very rampant. So that is the problem when it comes to generational shift. And digitization, the mobiles, by replacing that with the socialization by grandparents and parents, the children that are growing these days, they are growing without affection. And in society, when people grow without affection, they become disillusioned and they tend to fall vulnerable to crimes. So that is then this is one part. And another important point is they will not be willing to contribute meaningfully to the society, because they are not ready to acknowledge the fact that whatever we are here today, it is because of hundreds of thousands of crores of humans that have lived before us. Every breath of us today, we should be thankful for them. Can you imagine your life without a phone today? Do you know even how many people have died and spent their entire life for one single component in that? You will at least have 6,000 component in them. Okay, so that is the significance, and you should always acknowledge the history. History means our past, because our past everyone has contributed. Yes, human is to err, but we should always look at the end of the day the brighter picture. Okay, so everyone's contribution has to be acknowledged. Then you will realize that yes, the level of contentment will seep inside you, and that will give you a better confidence, and that will give you a fillip to prepare with positive attitude. Okay, these might look very small things. I had to take an extra minute to tell you guys this thing, because your confidence is what decides UPSC. Don't you think lot of you guys are academically excellent? Not just you, those who are appearing for UPSC, do you think only 13,000 are academically good? And in that 13,000 only 6,000 are scoring 92. 92 is a GM, right? GM cutoff. In India, entire India, do you think only 6,000 are capable of scoring 92? Why are they not? Simple reason is this: you prepare with the confidence and that positive mindset, not with the insecurity and FOMO. Okay, all right. So that's up. Where are we now? Increase urban migration. All right. So the concept of demographic winter, increasing marriages between castes which have social, regional disparity, comprehensive policy for equity and justice. See, same thing. Development. There will be a question. No doubt. You know the theme, right? Get couple of things prepared. Those 5 common points which you will be using in such questions, keep them ready anytime, any moment. If you boil down everything, your society notes will reduce to 3-4 pages. You can generate points, the relevant points here. All you require is those specific data or specific report or those specific introduction or conclusion. Okay. Critically analyze the proposition that there is a high correlation between cultural diversities and socio-economic marginality. Same thing. It is talking about the cultural linkage to marginalization of some section. Why some people are not developed? What are the cultural factors behind it? That is the question. Okay. What are the cultural factors? Again, same thing: caste, gender discrimination, patriarchy, the stereotypes, the prejudices, right? So that is the thing. Do you think marriage as a sacrament is losing its? Do you think why many of you might find it cliche? Why the UPSC has asked the marriage question, right? Because marriage is the basic institution that society stands on. A stable and the sacrosanct marriage will ensure a stable family. A family will ensure that the next generation that is coming is emotionally, mentally stable. And when the next generation, the people that are coming, they are stable, then the society will be stable, calm and peaceful. So that is the linkage. It is not to the individual level. At larger level, that is the relevance of society. What did Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam say? If you want to change, it should begin with family, right? There was some quote, I am not able to recall now. Yes, there are 3 people who will decide destiny of nation: mother, father, teacher, right? So family, marriage constitutes that mother, father. So that is why the relevance of this question. It is not simply some random changes or superficial thing that has been asked. And again, same thing: why is suicide among young women is increasing in Indian society? Because this is outright reflection of the double burden due to patriarchy and changing roles of women. Women are participating in every sphere, but still they are burdened with the traditional roles. That is the reason that suicides are up. So that is the context the question comes. Child cuddling, the mobile phone that I discussed. Does urbanization lead to more segregation or marginalization of same thing? How culture affects development of some section. Culture is urbanization. Okay. Why is caste identity both static and fluid? Yes. Social change question. Discuss the impact of post-liberalization economy and ethnic identity. Same. Post-liberalization, what is the post-liberalization economy? What is it? Can anyone say it in one word? It's globalization. Because globalization what? Connection, interconnection. And India started to connect with external world post 1991. Until then we were closed world. We did not open ourselves to the world. Simply that is how the questions are asked. And even in GS2 last year there were a lot of questions which seemed like the candidates were not able to understand. Instead of that one word he was trying to give it in such phrases. Alright. Given how is the growth of tier 2 cities related to rise of new middle class, with an emphasis on the, see, middle class constitutes 60-70% of India's population. Don't you think that that is significant portion of population? And tier 2 cities, they are solution for the all urban menace. So that is why the question comes, given the diversities among the tribal communities in India, in which specific context should they be considered as a single category? So this is comes to social development. When it comes to identity, they have to be considered as, yes, you are Kannadiga, you are Tamilian, you are UP, Bihar, everything. But when it comes to development, you are Indian. So that is the context it has been asked. You need to tell when it comes to economic social development, that has to be considered as a single category. Political, economic and social development. And when it comes to their identity and their specific thing, that can be considered as an ethnic group. Analyze the salience of sectarian Indian society. This question vis-a-vis caste, region and religion. This is about unity and diversity part, the salient feature. Okay, I also don't remember much about it. Sorry guys, I forgot about this part. I don't remember that this day. Tolerance, assimilation. See, the Indian ethos. The tolerance, assimilation, pluralism are the key elements in the making of Indian form of secularism. Why do in India people adjust with other religious people? It is because we are tolerant. We have you ever found discomfort? Maybe some of you might have found talking to a person of other religion, or sitting on the same table on dining, or eating with a guy who is a non-vegetarian guy eating with a vegetarian guy. Do they really find discomfort? No. It is because the adjustment, the tolerance, that is right. Inculcated right away from our basic lifestyle. It is inculcated through our epics, Mahabharata, Ramayana, through our Panchatantra stories, through our proverbs, and through our temples, panels, and through Puranas, and through moral stories, and through grandma stories, and in everyday life. So when it is being reinforced from 360 degree, don't you think at some point or other people will tend to be a bit tolerant? So that is what is India. And assimilation, same thing. Okay, people come from north, they stay in Bangalore for 5-6 years, they start to speak Kannada and they start to eat Kannada, they start to propagate Kannada. So that is assimilation. Alright, because we accept whatever is good and we try to inculcate that. Alright, in India we almost, if we find anything good, we will never hesitate to integrate that. That is what is assimilation. We assimilate different parts, and tribals have been assimilated, and diverse religions have been assimilated. Don't you think in Christian a lot of people will still use garlands, agarbatis and all? Yes, that is a degree of assimilation, and eventually this should not go on air, so I can't tell yet. Eventually the history of India has been that whoever new God comes, he will become one part of the mainstream God. So that has been the history of India. That is the level of assimilation. So it began in Vedic, where it was nature gods were worshipped. Then there was this emergence of the Adi Yogi, or the what they call Shiva. He was integrated. Then there was emergence of this Tantricism. It was integrated as Shakti. Then there was rebel and emergence of Buddhism. It was integrated in incarnation. Then there was emergence of Jainism. It was integrated. Then there was again in modern days Basavanna, not modern days, in recent centuries it was Basavanna. It is not that they were propagating something new. The values were same. Only thing is the method. They were rebelling against method. The Vedic methods were exploited. Ritualism, sacrifice, seeking of gifts, donations, compelling them to do that thing. Those things were being rebelled by Buddha and Mahavira, Basavanna, everyone, every Bhakti saint. They were against this, what we call that, idol form. Because when you give idol, that rituals will come around, and when you try to do that, there will be discrimination, who has to enter, who has to not enter. So everything comes with that part. That's why it has been fought by our own people. That is the rationality that has kept India alive. Okay. So pluralism, yes, we give space for everyone to speak, not only speak but also to decide, because to allow them to speak doesn't make it plural. Okay. You sitting in your home to decide something, maybe your marriage, whom you marry, and your everyone will discuss, but your father alone will take decision. Will it become a democracy? So pluralism here, because everyone's voice is respected in India. That is what is pluralism. So they are the key elements in making India secular form. Otherwise India would have been a theocratic nation. Alright. So what are the main social economic implications arising out of the development of IT industries? Yes, this is basic thing. And gig economy, the changing order of economy in India. That's why the question. The economy has been shifting, at least the agriculture population and the educated unemployed population is finding root here. And in this AI era, all we are left with is this gig economy, maybe in more sophisticated daily labor work. This is basically that part. Okay. So that's why it becomes important from policy and social economic impact. Right. You might have seen what problems that will arise when it is a gig economy. You don't have every day you have to. It is basically like the employment in gig economy is like it again makes us live like animal. We need to search and find our food. We need to search and earn every day. So that is the main pain with gig economy. So the issue is very, very significant and pertinent that UPS has asked it. Has caste lost its relevance in understanding the multicultural social change? COVID pandemic. See the contemporary social issue. So COVID pandemic accelerated class inequalities. Right? During COVID, what happened? Poor become poor, rich become rich. In diversity and pluralism is India under the threat to globalization. Same Indian ethos and its impact on. Here, so far the trend has been to ask globalization impact on women, children, old age people, etc., etc. Here he has also asked on Indian ethos, diversity and pluralism. Okay, so Indian ethos, that is the key. That you should know the list and what it means. Notes making and answer writing. Let's not write answer for this because the session has overextended, but I'll quickly show the notes. Sorry, these are written with very small handwriting. Maybe it might not be visible for you, but let me. This is history notes. Okay, modern history notes. Zoom il valli. Okay, leave. Okay, see this part. This is about formation of Congress. This notes. The notes, I will try to tell what was idea in making these notes. Congress, 2 facts that has to be clearly visible, and when I look at this sheet, that should feed. And what was the form of organization? I had 4 points. Why there was a need to create a organization like Congress? So the reasons I have, and then the theories about there are a couple of theories, right? The safety valve theory is one, and there are other theories. It was created by our own people for our own freedom, and it was created by British to pacify the freedom fighters. So they are the two broad theories. So theories part and significance, what it did in just 1 or 2 keywords. Okay, So this is how your note should boil down, and that is not okay. That should not limit to that simple superficial surface headline. He will not ask that question directly, why was Congress created and all. Maybe he can ask, but more importantly, the significance of Congress lies in its actions that it took during the freedom struggle, and it is evident in couple of sessions. There were 3 or 4 sessions which are very important. One is the 1905 session, the Surat split and the Swadeshi movement wala sessions, 2 sessions, and then this Nagpur session, and then there was another session 1929 Pune Swaraj session, right. So these 3 are sessions which can be directly asked what was the significance. For that you need to anticipate, you need to think prior that questions might come from this area and you need to make notes of it. So that will give you confidence and coverage. So I anticipated the question from 1916 Nagpur session, sorry Lucknow section. I think I have written it mistakenly. Lucknow session, because Lucknow session is very important, because Congress arrived from grave and became alive again. The split that happened in 1907 Surat died here and Congress unified again. So that gave fillip to the freedom movement which was dying down. So that makes it very, very important, because two organizations and 2 camps in Congress pacified and united team was presented against the British team. So that makes it very, very critical. So I tried to make a diagram. Congress placated moderates and moderates supported Congress, because moderates left after split, and the Muslim League, they supported Congress in return for these 3 things, and together what was the outcome? Strong negotiation with British for self-government. Don't you think this picture will present entire thing? So that is how you need to try to build, okay. And demands what were present on that Lucknow session and significance and its drawbacks. Same thing, Nagpur session, see entire thing it's in few words, okay, and entire Congress wala entire theme it's in 1 page. So if you are trying to do this in this fashion, maybe it will take a little bit more time in your initial days, but if you are doing it in a team, it will take same time, okay. It will take less time and everyone will benefit. Maybe you can individually add that extra point, keeping everything else same. Yes, that is the concern I can understand from you guys. When you are collaborating, you might feel that there will be no advantage for us, right. You can create your own advantage by finding your own unique point, but rest of things you can collaborate and work, alright. So same thing with peasant issues. So I had this, what were the issues and what are the major events or things that were associated with peasant movements. Thebaga was one, and there was pre-Congress and post-Congress. There are 2 streams of peasant movements. So I had it differentiated. And same thing about tribal uprising and people's resistance. And this is about British policy, industrial capitalism, financial capitalism and mercantilism. There were 3 phases of British economic policies. So had them in comparison, not comparison, in a crisp this that I will be able to identify and I will be able to write it whenever asked, because this is very, very important, tribal administrative policies of British. And if you are doing this manner, your prelims will become easy for. It's just not helpful for mains. You will get more clarity, and in modern history the questions are not about just facts in prelims, it's about understanding. So if you are doing in this manner, you will be able to solve 1 or 2 questions more, and that is what will decide your prelims. It's just history. If you are doing in every paper, you will get that extra 4 or 5 questions aram se, okay. This is administrative part, and this is about the leader's contribution. I have only taken one page, okay, this is not complete notes. Tilak and Gandhi, I anticipated and made a notes out of it, because one is called as father of Indian unrest, Tilak, because he was the one who was an extremist at least in those terms, we can't say it. He was the extremist who stood against the moderate leaders and came up with resistance, right? That's why he is called unrest, father of Indian unrest, and Gandhiji is called a father of nation. And he was moderate, Gandhi was moderate, Tilak was extremist. That opposing view made them a possible question for a comparative leaders based contribution or views. And Lala Lajpat Rai, these are prominent leaders, so I added them. And this is geography, okay. I tried to make very crisp notes. If at all it is a question about atmosphere, I will write this. I won't be writing details, just crisp body and structure. Seasonality, if it is question coming, I will write these parts, and I will write this is an acronym I have created, star, those parts, those 5 reasons, and seasons in India. And monsoon, if at all it is coming, I will write these many parts. These are at my fingertips. Okay, and for every layer I had these 5 points ready based on that PYQ. Once it is done, you need to get alert and fill those gaps. Same thing here, I tried to make notes of El Nino, La Nino and Indian. These are very, very important phenomena, and this time you can expect a question around from this area, because El Nino has been around the news this year. ಮತ್ತೆ ಬಂದಿದೆಯಾ ಆಯಿತಾ? ಸೊಸೈಟಿ ನೋಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ, ಸೊಸೈಟಿ ನೋಟ್ಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ. Okay, this is about society. Okay, salient features, just list them. You need to use those keywords there. Indian diversity ಇದೆ, hierarchy ಇದೆ, collectivism ಇದೆ, tribalism. Collectivism means we always think in groups. In India we don't, individualism illa. That is what has kept our society together. The moment we try to be individualistic, all sorts of troubles will come. That is why the developed nations of Europe today, despite abundance of resource, the society is reeling under crisis. It is because the children are not cared by parents, the children are left for the government and the system, and they are not bothered to care for the next generation. So when there is no mutual dependency and care, they will act independently without bothering for others' welfare. That is what will eventually lead to destruction of a society. Civilizations have died because of that one individual disease, individualism. Okay, collectivism will keep a society together. Okay, if imagine tomorrow bee becomes individualistic, entire agriculture will stop. The moment bee becomes individualistic rather than collectivistic, there won't be any honeybee surviving. And when there is no honeybee surviving, there will be no agriculture, no pollination. So similarly, if you extrapolate it to society, we are in a dependent society. Water is given by someone else, food is given by someone else. Even in food, rice is given by someone else, dal is given by someone else, pepper is given by someone else, and your vehicle is given by someone else. Tomorrow everyone starts to look after their own self, no one will contribute for each other, then no one will, what I am trying to tell is, interdependency creates a peace. Have you ever wondered, America, it used 2 bombs on Japan, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, right? After that, Japan is the closest friend of America today. Why? Has anyone wondered why this happened? The moment after it launched the nuclear weapons, America sat down and devised a new strategy that, since I have hit the enemy and enemy will be enraged, he will sure planning to take the revenge. So when the mindset is such, what will the opponent do? He will try to pacify. But how will you do? You simply cannot pacify. Okay, first I will hit you like, I will thrash you, then I will tell sorry. Will it be acceptable? Yes, you can accept sorry for a moment, but you will always keep a hunch that you will teach me a lesson. To avoid that, what I will do? I will integrate you. I will create a permanent dependency that you will not be able to live without me. No matter how hard you are willing to take the revenge, you will not be able to. So America used the policy of supply chain integration. That is when it pacified Japan. So that's why Japan doesn't have army and it is in the camp of America today. Okay. And same thing, why do you think China and the Trump and Xi Jinping, they they vocally talk against each other, but when it comes to this thing, they are in handshake. They are not at war. It is because the supply chain are so deeply integrated that they are simply not in a position to afford the war. So that is what collectivism or dependency does. So that is what has kept Indian society intact. Yes, it has couple of problems associated with it, where individual space will shrink sometimes, but things come in package. If you want something, it's not that you can cherry pick this, that. If I am hiring someone of you, I can't expect I can't take one individual or 5 individual for one attribute, right? I can't hire one for integrity, one for responsibility, one for transparency, and one for this. I'll have to find one individual who largely fit in that. There will be high possibility that that person will have few attributes at a higher degree and few attributes at a lower degree. That will come in package. So everything will have some other side. So that is the way how life goes on. Okay. So this is about notes. About I tried to make crisp points, and one page it's done. Indian society features and Indian ethos. Try to list out all ethos, because you will be able to use this in those kind of questions. What the ethos? What all ethos we have? Harmony with all different groups of nature, groups and nature. Right? Ahimsa, tolerance, and accommodation are key values. Dharma and karma, nishkama karma, unity and diversity, pluralism, multiculturalism, social bonds, family and community, social responsibility, generosity and hospitality, atithi devo bhava, pursuit of knowledge and learning, balance of spiritualism and materialism. Right? India, have you seen any sadhu or any individual who is fully in luxury, not being spiritual or not being materialistic? A fully rich guy will be spiritualistic. A fully non-materialistic guy, spiritualistic guy will still be materialistic. It is because, like Buddha said, life is in that balance. Okay. So that is what is Indian ethos. Everyone says in India, no one says become a saint. They says do everything that should be done as a human being. So that is the way Indian thought is, balance between everything. Harmonious integration, yes, that assimilation part, and we have a cosmic worldview. So these are the basic Indian thoughts which you can always use in answers, and these are specific topics that I made. Okay, and that's it. All right. So guys, that's up. It was quite long session. I can understand lot of you will be feeling bored, and some of you might be waiting to move out. But let's have a quick Q&A session if at all you have any doubts, and then we'll wrap up. All right.
Sir,
Ah.
in exam, which part, geography or history, which part you will take first, or you will go with the flow, first, second, third?
It depends on you. Okay. My approach has usually been to start from question number 1 and end with question number 20. Okay. Some people find that they want to write and get used to the time by writing 15 markers, because it will require lot of time there. I mean extra time there, 11 minutes. So they'll use that as inertia breaker. You can use that approach, but I can't suggest any rigid approach, because it will be difficult for in your exam hall and try to sit and mark geography question separate, society separate question, history question separate. You'll be spending 3-4 minutes there, which might cost you a big time. All you can do is to club two together and skip one subject, and then write that subject questions at the last. But if you are sorting at subject wise, maybe it might become chaotic. If at all you want to do that, please do practice that in your test series. Once you are accustomed with it, then it is natural. Okay. So anything?
So who was your main source? For any concept, how you used to prepare the notes? Means
Same thing, whatever is available in basic, and that extra value that which I can add. And for coverage, which all things to be covered, PYQ is the indicator. Okay, PYQ and syllabus. Anything?
Sir, how to integrate current affairs? Like if there is
There is no compulsion to integrate in everything, but whichever topic there is a scope, there you try to integrate. Okay, it's not necessary or it's not practical also. You can't integrate history in current affairs in history, right? So don't be in that rigid mode. Integration of anything will add value, and you integrate those things that are relevant or practically possible based on the themes and subjects. Okay, sometimes you can add like I said, quotes and all, they can also enrich the answers. Okay, any questions?
So what was your optional?
Anthropology.
How did you concentrate in your initial days? Were you concentrating on dreams or dreams?
Initial first 2 attempts I was trying to do both, and I did nothing. I mean nothing fulfilling. Okay, but later on I realized we need to do it strategically. That's when my actual preparation began. It took at least 3 years of my time to understand what exactly we need to do in this exam and how do we have to approach. That took that initial years, and that's why it took me my final attempt. Anything?
You are my college alumni. You are my college alumni.
Oh, acha, you are from AIT.
Yeah.
Okay, good to see.
After how many revisions you prepared the notes, the short notes?
This I prepared 2 years back. Yes, this is actually a good question. Don't make a notes after you are studying for first time or second time. Make notes after you study for third time, because then you will understand what is that cream and what is that peripheral things, and you try to make notes by keeping PYQs besides. By that you will understand in this topic these things also need to be covered, because in your basic standard books maybe those things might not have covered, but PYQ tell you, and it will tell the contours of the topic, how, to what extent you need to limit. Okay, you can use syllabus in parallel with PYQs to create a boundary for the syllabus. Okay.
Sir, in anthropology, did you refer any standard books or what were the standard?
No, I referred IGNO material and Ember, and that was only once, and I tried to filter out and add to my notes, and I closed them forever. So that was it. Only 2 standard things in IGNO materials and Ember, that's all. Anything?
How many PYQs you response?
See, answer writing, it's based on the candidate. Okay, some people they understand quickly how to write answers. For them, they have to write only to ensure that they are writing them in time management. Some people they are not in a situation to understand the demand and generate those points. They have to write more, and not as a test but as a daily answer writing, because writing test won't improve your answer writing. Writing daily answers will improve your answer writing. Tests are for they are just like preparatory exams, and preparatory exams should be done after you are studying, I mean after your preparation. And in your preparation initial phases, daily answers will help you improve answers. After that you can take it to level 2 answers. I mean initially begin with 2 answers, then increase it to 5 questions a day, then 10 questions a day, then full lengths. Okay. So anything?
How did you balance between your optional and GS preparation in limited time?
See, I have spent here 7.5 years. I had all the time to balance.
In case
If it was a first attempt, that I could have answered that. So
yeah, like can you tell like what you could have done differently to like clear it up?
differently means yes. This is an apt question. See, it took me 3 years to realize what has to be done. So if I had started at that point, I would have done my prelims and mains and my optional in an integrated manner. Okay, by writing just 2 questions per day, that's all. That is how about time management I can't tell, because it is up to individual that how much effort they are willing to put. I generally tend to study not beyond 8 hours, that too during my peak time. Yes, on odd days, just before exams, I'll extend it to 12-13 hours, but on good days, 8 hours is maximum for me, and on average days, it is 6 or below, because I spent 7 years. If it was 1 year, maybe 15-16 years would help, but I have studied these many years, so it was a cumulative effort. So I am not in a position to tell you how much hours to study, but yes, based on what I have heard from first attempt rankers, that they will start their preparation early. It's not that they are starting after this pre. Suppose you are graduated in May, now you are starting and you will get prepared until your next pre. No. Those who are writing in first attempt, they are starting in the last year of graduation. Okay. So it requires at least 18 months. Ask any mentor, any teacher, any in-service civil servant bureaucrat, or any first attempt toppers or any first attempt rankers. No one will tell you that you can do it in 8 or 10 months. No one. And no one has done that. It will take at least 18 months. The process is such. You need to understand things, you need to grasp them, concise them, then you need to write and then give the test. Giving without preparation for giving test itself will require 4 months. All you are left with 12 months to study. At least you require that much, right? To understand what is UPSC, to understand syllabus and all, it will take 15 days. Those who are starting now. So 18 months is the minimum time if who are all deciding to give attempt. Assuming that I am starting today, 18 months is what I think and what most people think is the minimum time. Okay. So balancing will be done in that part, because you will have, if you are spending 1.5 months per GS, it will take 6 months for GS, 4 months for your essay, ethics, GS and essay included, 4 months for your optional. So in 10 months you will be up with your mains and this thing. Everything else for exam oriented preparation. Rest 8 months is for exam oriented preparation. So that will do. 4 months is all you require for any optional, not beyond 4 months. If you are doing it in a proper way from day 1. It's not that for 4 months you are studying, you are listening class and you are assuming that I have done it for 4 months and I am prepared. No. Okay. If it is done in a proper strategic manner, then 4 months are enough. All right. Anything about GS1? Okay. We have some questions from the online participants. Have you been working anytime while preparing? If yes, then your time management strategy, please. Yes, I have been working. Actually, I worked for a couple of years after my initial 2 failures, but I didn't prepare in those 2 years. I chose to stay away from UPSC in those 2 years. After 4 years, I restarted. And when I restarted, I came with a plan and a strategy. And right away, I resigned my job. I cracked my pre and I wrote mains for last 4 years continuously. So I didn't get the opportunity to understand how to balance work and studies. So I will not be able to answer it properly. But yes, if you have studied for 3 or 4 years and now you are after that you are working, then you can balance. Because after studying for 3 and 4 years, you don't need to sit and study for 12 hours or 8 hours a day. All you require is taking out those 4 hours, 5 hours back max. That you can balance. So anything else? Hope your question is answered. So all right guys, shall I assume like questions are done? Say yes. Okay, I hope that the session was useful and probably I was able to make myself useful in your preparation, and I wish all the best for you guys and hope to see you at the higher Achillean very soon. All the best. Okay, do well.